everyone, it's Rachel again. I am making this video in regards to questions I got about the University of New York in Prague and my experience there. So the first question, and probably the number one question that I've gotten asked the most in the emails, letters, and comments has been, what exactly does the University of New York in Prague offer in regards for students who are from a different school, like from America or anywhere else in the world, in order to connect culturally with the Czech people? And that's a really good question. And some of what I've done personally, I've been really lucky, and they've offered a few get-togethers during the summer that the University of New York has hosted. For example, there was a football game, community football game, that anyone who was able to say, I go to the University of New York in Prague, it is my host school, and be able to prove that, was able to play, and it was really great. I got to meet not only students who actually live and attend the University of New York in Prague, but I've also have been able to meet some other foreign exchange students, and those are students that are just here for a semester, from another country, but also students like me who are here for a host school for a different class that the University of New York is a host school for. So it does offer, not always, but this semester I've been very lucky to have some things offered. There's been movie nights, that football game I said, and also really, if you just look for the signs, because they have them in both Czech and English, it's very useful, believe me. So if you look for the signs, read the billboards, you will be able to find an event that you may or may not be interested in. And I would still say take a buddy with you, just so that way you're not too lonely and awkward just being by yourself, because I know some of my friends are that way, so that's actually one reason I went, because it's like, hey, I want to go to this. I know that you wanted to get to know some people, so would you want to come with? And they did, so we had fun. Another one that I've been able to do is that there may or may not be some Czech students or some other students from other programs in your class. So really just engaging with them has been very useful to me. And teachers usually would want you to do that. I mean, it may be a little different depending on your teacher, because the way, at least from my experience, my English professor English-speaking professor, from Texas Tech teaches way differently than some Czech professors that I've been able to meet. Like Czech professors, they really just want you to be quiet and just listen and not necessarily engage until you're given permission. While my teacher from Tech has, just jump in whenever, be spontaneous, don't be afraid to just jump in and not raise your hand. I want to hear from all of you. Participation is key. So, just little differences here and there, but you should have time to really adjust to that. Another question that I have gotten is, how do you get past the language barrier? And I will be honest, I slightly haven't. Because before I came here, actually, I tried to teach myself Czech. And I've been able to learn a little bit more since I've been here, but I am far from fluent. I can say thank you, and you're welcome, and where's the restroom? Just some key phrases like that. And this is good, like in regards to food and like nice treatment and stuff. Or also some curse words, because I have some very interesting friends who that happens to a little bit more than I would like to say. But anyway, the point being is that English is thankfully a universal language, so we have been able to, in a way, help each other out. Because one of my classmates is Czech and speaks almost nothing but Czech, but he's learning English, and so by talking to me and some of my other classmates, he's been able to work on his English, and some who've wanted to have been able to work on their Czech. Now keep in mind, not everybody wants to, but I have been one that has wanted to, so I've been able to do that. Another question I got I was not expecting, was in regards to cooking classes and cultural classes, and if any of those are offered through the University of New York in Prague. And I will be honest, it is not that kind of university. I mean, if you're a regular student that actually attends, then yes, they do offer like some of those courses, but, you know, because it's part of their curriculum. But as like a transfer student, well, not transfer student, and as a transfer student, you can do that, but as a host school, I have not run across anything like that. It's mostly just been like, you know, those football games, movie nights, and, you know, just getting to know you kind of things, you know, so that way they can promote you having fun. Really, the way I've learned about some Czech dishes has honestly just been going to the farmers markets and restaurants, smaller restaurants, because they're a little bit more willing to, you know, share their recipes than the big restaurants for obvious reasons. But the farmers market, like, if you really like it, then they will be more than happy enough to share their recipe with you, as long as you promise to come back and buy something, because, you know, nothing's free. And for cultural classes, I mean, really, just walking around and exploring Prague and talking to people has really been my cultural experience, because I feel like I might not necessarily need a class, because I also did a lot of research before I came. So, you know, I know some people might not do that, but I did, so I thought it was very useful. And I think it was really appreciated by some of the Czech friends that I've made, because they're like, okay, I don't have to explain that to you, you already know a little bit. But, you know, of course, they are more than welcoming of questions, because, you know, we are completely different countries, different customs, so, you know, questions on both of our sides have been asked and answered. Another question that I know there's a time limit on YouTube, so I don't want to go over that, but the last question that I will ask, or not, that I will answer that has been asked to me, is the weather and dress code, because it's more like those two kind of go together. Like, what do you wear and what is the weather like? For the time in the summer that I've been here, it's been kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I have had to wear everything that would be appropriate for 90-degree weather, because I went to Prague Castle one time and it was 94 degrees, and Prague Castle is really high and there's no shade, so I was boiling. Black hair in the sun, they do not go, just FYI. So I actually bought a hat before we got to Prague Castle, because I'm like, just walking to Prague Castle, I was dying, so I bought a hat. But then also, like, literally a week, like later on in the week, it was raining really, really hard, and the weather was like in the low 50s. So it was wet and cold, so I actually had to wear clothes that I would wear in the fall in Texas. So that was very obviously different. And yesterday I even had to wear a sweater. I mean, even right now I'm wearing long sleeve and pants, because it is just that chilly and cool, essentially, from the wind. So I would say pack a variety, like a small variety, and I've been very lucky, because some money that I have saved, I wanted to buy clothing for each part of the year from Prague, so that way I could always have a little piece of it with me. And so I was very lucky, because on that little shopping spree that I went on, I got clothes for spring, summer, fall, and winter, so I've pretty much been covered with my, you know, clothing items. I will say this, a falsehood that I heard was that the Europeans do not wear shorts and they do not wear skirts. That is a falsehood. They do. They usually just save them for like super hot weather and lots of walking, like backpacking and stuff, but they do wear them. So if you want to pack, a skirt or shorts, I would say go ahead. However, the difference being is that the Europeans, they are kind of a stickler on no Daisy Dukes. Like, that is not okay. They do not like that. But like regular shorts, that's a little bit longer, they're perfectly fine with. And those, I want to say like butterfly shorts, the ones that kind of go up to your waist, they're okay with that too. It's kind of more style, it was more stylized shorts, so that's one reason why they're okay with it. If they were not stylized that way, then that would be unacceptable. Because they're very artsy and bohemian here in Prague, so, if you have something that is nicely styled, then you should be okay. And also, do not be afraid to wear dresses. The people here in Prague, the women especially, they love dresses. And I say especially because the guys like women that wear dresses. So, yeah. They constantly will wear dresses, but I will say this, do bring tights because they're a little bit more accepting of that, especially if the skirt is short. They do not like the short skirts and no tights look. They prefer, if you're going to wear something short, for you to wear tights. And also, if you're going to go to church, I will say bring a dress that covers your shoulders and upper arms, and also an appropriate length, because if you wear super short and don't cover parts of your arms and legs, they will kick you out. One of my friends actually saw somebody kicked out of a church because their dress was not down to their knees, because if you are not going to wear tights, then your dress has to be down to your knees, because that's what's appropriate. They consider the house of God to be sacred, and you should show the proper respect for that. And if you don't, they have no problem kicking you out. So I went to church, and I actually bought myself a dress, because you have to dress up when you go to church. I mean, you can't go in jeans and a shirt like what I'm wearing. Jeans and shirt, this would not be acceptable, even if it was chilly. It would not be okay. So this, perfectly fine for every day, but not okay for church. Church is nice dress, nice shoes. It doesn't matter if they're flat or heels, just as long as they're nice looking. But again, if you are not going to wear tights, your dress should be pretty much to your knees or lower. Maxi kind of dresses, they are okay, but you have to wear a sweater, because again, not all maxi dresses have, arm coverage. So something like this is perfectly fine. I would say maybe up to like your elbow would be preferable, but as long as you, cover what is a good portion of your body, then you should be okay. But again, I would still bring tights just in case. Alright, well, and also for dress, bring a raincoat and maybe even a peak coat. Because I know that some people, they mix those two together, like my raincoat is my peak coat, but I would say you need a raincoat, like something water resistant, because when it rains in Prague, it rains in Prague. So I've had a rain jacket and an umbrella that I brought with me, and I have used them, and I'm so glad that I did. And your umbrella, if you are going to come to Prague, I would suggest be wind resistant, because I've literally seen about 5 umbrellas snap from the wind, and like it's all limp and it's not protecting their owner. So yeah, make sure that your umbrella is can stand up to some pretty strong winds. And I guess pretty much that's it. You don't necessarily have to bring rain boots, because I honestly haven't really seen that many rain boots in Prague. I mostly see like nicer shoes and tennis shoes. So again, if you want like water resistant shoes, there is a way you can make your shoes water resistant by like taping them in a way, and like with water resistant tape, because I've seen quite a few people do that, and it's perfectly fine. I mean, they really don't care what's on your feet or how you dress. It's very freeing here to dress however you want, just as long as you are dressed respectably in church. Well, alright everyone, that is pretty much the end of this video. Again, if you have any questions in regards to my time at the University of New York in Prague or their programs, I would suggest going to the University of New York's website. It will be in the link below. And again, if it's more personal experience that you want, then feel free to email or comment on my video, and I will be sure to try to get to you. Alright, well, I hope everyone has a nice day and have a really good life. Bye.